Ladies and gentlemen, let us call a spade and not a big spoon. Because as things are happening currently, we can say confidently that the united opposition is not headed nowhere. Because if things will continue being in the normal for the united opposition, then let's come to 2027. President William Samoei Arap Ruto is actually going to defeat the side of opposition hands down. And it is not that was expected to happen, but it is because the united opposition doesn't have a plan. It is because the united opposition are not united the way the words are. They are actually looking at different directions. It is only the word united opposition which is binding them together. But in that united opposition, every person is doing his own things. And they don't have things which are actually common, which they can use, which they can write on to make sure that William Samoei Arap Ruto is going to be a one-term president. And the united opposition have actually agreed that let William Samoei Arap Ruto plan for them. And if William Samoei Ruto will plan for them, then he will plan definitely for them to fail. And not just to fail, but to fail terribly late come 2027 presidential election. And that is why the united opposition is actually supposed to wake up. If at all they want things to work out for them, late come 2027. They should not be crying like babies. They should not be saying that the will of the people has been overturned. They should be looking at various strategies to stop the will of the people to be overturned. And if you are a leader, that is actually definitely what you are expected to do. You are supposed to read. You are supposed to protect. And you are supposed to show the direction. But if the united opposition can actually not be able to do those core principles, then definitely they are headed into a wrong direction. And they will never make William Samoei Arap Ruto to be a one-term president. But William Samoei Arap Ruto is going to make sure that they vanish from the political arena of this republic. For example, if Rigathi Gachagua is going to be defeated 2027, then where will he be going to? That means he will be in a political dustbin. Where will be Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka with his age? If they cannot organize, they cannot plan to win 2027, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka will be in a political oblivion. Where will be Fred Okengo Matiang'i? Let come 2027. Because for now, we can say that the environment is favoring Fred Okengo Matiang'i. And the moment has shown up for Fred Okengo Matiang'i. But if they cannot win, where will be Fred Okengo Matiang'i? In 2032, he will be nowhere. He will be in his village in Nyansiongo. And therefore, the united opposition should stop joking and should think for a way to contain William Samoei Ruto and to make him to be a one-term president. And for them to do that, there are things that they must do. And if they will not do those things, then it's good for them to forget telling the Kenyans that William Samoei Ruto is a one-term president. And that is actually what I want us to have as a candid discussion today. But before we dive in to look on those key things or key points, I will request you kindly, please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers. Help this video to get more viewers. Help this channel to grow. And by just subscribing, by just giving this video a like, by just sharing this video to your friends and requesting them to subscribe to this YouTube channel if they are lovers of politics. And by doing that will not cost you anything. Now, let me dive in to the discussion. What are the things that the united opposition must start doing and must start planning so that they can make William Samoei Arap Ruto probably to be a one-term president? Number one, they must have a proper formula of getting somebody who is going to be their leader, their presidential candidate, let come 2027, by probably mwezi wa sita, latest next year. That is one thing they must do as soon as possible. And if they can, they must do it by February next year, so that by February, they will be having somebody who will be their presidential candidate. Because if they have a higher presidential candidate, then there is a high likelihood to know how to deal with the fallout. Because by having a high presidential candidate, they will know if it is Kalonzo will bolt out, they will know how to deal with that. If it is Matiang'i who will bolt out, they will know how to cure that. And that will help them to have a leader who will be steering them forward instead of looking into different directions and having no agenda for the people of this nation. So that's the first thing they must do. The second thing they must do is that they must have a cralling call. They must know that which is their point of reference, whatever they do in the united opposition. For an example, people have been saying one-term president, but it is that fashionable by now? It isn't fashionable by now at all, because it has become so much diluted and it doesn't have any meaning and it's now empty. Because if currently you tell people that William Samoei Ruto will be a one-term president, many of them will ask you for what reason he's going to be a one-term president. And why should he be a one-term president? That's why I'm saying that they must have the point of reference. For example, they must have something like, we will fix this nation. Let us fix it. Let us make Kenya a great nation. Obama added, yes, we can. For the corruption of this nation to end, yes, we can. Something of that, a point of reference. But not this diluted one-term, two-term. It is making us to feel so tired of it. They should have something else. The Kralian call. That is what they should actually come up with as the united opposition. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna make sure that we fix the integrity of this nation. We're gonna make sure that we fix the governance of this nation. We fix the education sector of this nation. A Kralian call, a point of reference, which is common and which brings together the united opposition. The third thing they should actually do is actually they should mark out their stronghold. And they should know that here, this is a no-go zone for William Samoei Ruto. And we will never give him a chance to succeed in our areas. And then they will go forward. Which are the fighting grounds. And then they start venturing to that fighting grounds so that they can get the biggest share of votes from those fighting grounds. That is the third thing that the united opposition must do. The fourth thing they must do is now they must sit down to have a proper united opposition manifesto. They should actually come up with policies which are quite attractive and realistic to the people of this nation. Because by now, you cannot understand the policies of the united opposition. In the side of education sector, what policy will they have? In the health sector, what kind of policy they will put into place? They are saying that SHA is not working. How are they going to make sure that SHA works? Or which plan do they have which they will use to replace SHA? So they must sit down. They must come up with a proper manifesto, which is quite attractive, with policies which are achievable. And they must start educating the people of this nation about their manifesto, their policies. At this time of age, when you are telling somebody that you must go, there are people who will ask you, why should he go? This is not a time when you could say, this person must go. We are tired of him. And then people will say, yes, let him go. This is a time when people will ask you, why should he go? Which plan do you have once he's gone? Or which plan first do you have? So that we can see whether there are eligible plans which you could put into place once this person is gone. That is the motto. And that is another thing that the united opposition must do. And lastly, the united opposition must stop crying that the will of the people has been overtaken, has been taken away by the sitting government. It is time now. They should not be crying that their votes have been stolen. It is time that they should sit down. They lay down a proper strategies on how to protect the will of the people being overturned. It is time now they must understand that they should come up with a policy, or they should come up with a plan on how to protect their votes. That's another thing they must do. And they must stop completely saying that our votes have been stolen. Because if you have a proper strategy, if you have put a proper framework on how to protect your votes, I am very sure nobody will dare. If you do proper messaging to the Kenyans on how votes will be protected, on how your followers should protect their votes, then nobody will actually steal your votes. Remember what William Samoei Arap Ruto did. Before IBC could finish tallying, they had finished doing their own tally by Itumbi, and they had known that we have won. And they were having all the documents showing that from this ward we got this, from this ward we got this. But if Rigathi will start crying just from one parliamentary by-election, how will he protect votes from multiple voting stations in the entire Kenya? So they must have a proper strategy on how to protect their votes. My fellow listeners, what do you have to say about all that? Please drop your comment in the comment section below. And if this is your first time that you have come across this YouTube channel, please take a minute, subscribe, give this video a like, please. Share the video to your friends. And if they are lovers of politics, it's good to request them to subscribe. Also, hit the notification bell so that at any moment we come up with any political content, YouTube can be in that position to notify you so that you can watch any political content that we upload into YouTube. And with that, I say thank you so much. May God bless you abundantly until we meet in our next political discussion. Goodbye.